record in for fishing?
It's a species of shark that I caught many years ago.
And,
to be honest, there will be three. I actually, down in Florida, caught and released what would be the world record nurse shark, and in Montauk, gosh, we're going back almost 30 years ago now. I was out there with a bunch of my friends and caught and released a blue shark that was estimated at 730 pounds, which would still eclipse the current world record, but I didn't want to kill the fish, so we cut them loose.
Oh, wow. What is that like to have a 730-pound fish on the end of your rod?
It's quite terrifying because the initial, when you feel the power of the animal, you realize you're holding on to something that could easily kill and eat you, which makes you wonder, why am I trying to bring this animal closer to me by turning this handle, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Then you also find yourself kind of locked in this ongoing slugfest with this creature. You're trying to tire it out enough that you can get it close enough to the boat for pictures, etc. And then when it finally gets to the boat and comes to the surface, I mean, its spread alone was like 6 feet. It was very angry. So, but it managed to swim off, and I had a quite sore back for quite some time after that, and we party friends.
Are you in what they call a fighting chair, or are you just standing at the end of the boat with a rod in your hand? How does that work?
I would have preferred a fighting chair, to be honest, but no, this was stand-up tackle. So basically you have a fighting belt around your waist. It has like we'll call it a padded section that goes on top of your thighs with drop straps, and there's a socket for the gimbal. The butt of the rod goes into that. I wasn't using drop straps either, which I didn't even know about. This was so long ago. I was just into big game fishing at that point. Drop straps actually attach from the belt to your reel, so it's easier in your grip. I didn't have that, so you have to hold on for dear life when this thing's running and diving and so forth and so on. It was very strenuous. I was young and in great shape, thank God. Otherwise, it never would have happened.
Keeping with the subject of sharks, we have to talk about the Megalodon, and because I mean, this was the largest fish. Never mind shark. This is the largest fish probably that ever lived, right? What's the timeline on the Megalodon?
Well, it's debatable size-wise. It was probably comparable in size to the largest whale sharks, which we know hit or slightly exceeds 60 feet. And Megalodon, previously they had estimated max around 50, but I did some research recently on posterior teeth in my collection, scaled them up to complete jaws, and it looks like the shark actually was in the mid to upper 50s, 50 feet or so in length. So it was a sizable animal. Timeline, it's been extinct for, I think, 3.6 million years is the current estimate. It keeps changing periodically. It used to be 2.6 million years, then it got revised, so now it's believed to have died off 3.6 million years ago.
And you have Megalodon teeth in your collection. How did you collect those?
Usually I get them from assorted buyers that I deal with, different companies, individuals, and whatnot. But the research I did recently in terms of the size, there had been like a paper out suggesting that the largest Megalodons came from cold water and were not breeding females. It's always been believed that there were breeding populations around the United States in warmer regions, like around Florida, etc. And they were thinking that the smaller teeth that were found were just from subadult and so forth. But I have a whole slew of posterior teeth, which are the smallest teeth in the jaws. They shrink as they get to where the jaws meet, the upper and lower. And these teeth were from gigantic females. I mean, they have to be females because of their sheer size. The females are larger. And I also have teeth of babies that were just barely born from those same areas. One's an identical match to the mother's tooth, in fact, except 1/20th the size or something. So the point being, though, these suggest the largest fish were mothers, and they were breeding, and they were in warmer water. But when I scaled up the sheer size of them, it was just mind-blowing. It suggested that the larger teeth in the jaws, those big prized 6-inch plus teeth that everybody wants, the upper anteriors and such,
Right.
My teeth suggest that the biggest teeth in the jaws were well over 8 inches from the individuals that lost these posterior teeth, which again suggests an animal that could be pushing as much as 60 feet in length, and an enormous, enormous shark.
Right. And you have caused a bit of a controversy because, you know, megalodons with the you know, the movies and so forth, they have this fish, legendary fish, has its own kind of cult following. I think you referred to them as kind of fanboys of the megalodon. How did you get yourself in hot water with the fanboys of the megalodon?
Hot water. There's a way. I mean, let's be realistic. There are movies out there where the shark jumps up 10,000 feet in the air and takes a plane out of the sky. You know, that's not exactly realistic, if you know what I'm saying. But you have to look at animals in terms of if you're being realistic, not if you're just trying to create, like, you know, wild sci-fi scenes, etc. You have to look at animals in terms of how they're affected by size, by gravity, their own morphology, how their bodies work, move, etc. Like, for example, the movie Anaconda, when it came out, it had these 40, 50-foot snakes doing crazy things like suspending from a branch and doing these, like, dances in the air, coming down, or grabbing something in the air as it fell and wrapping around something, pinning it to a tree. And that's just physically impossible for a snake that size. Anacondas are big, but they primarily prey in the water on things where their bodies are supported. So you have to take that into account. When it comes to sharks, since they have a cartilaginous skeleton, they have limitations. The bigger they get, the slower they get. If you look at whale sharks, basking sharks, etc., it's all in there. And it also, they're limited in terms of how big they can get too, and even their speed is controlled by, like, soft vertebrae that all those muscles that power them are attached to can withstand the shearing forces of muscle contractions that bones can. That's why a giant shark like a whale shark will never be as big as a blue whale and swims at 1/5 the speed of a whale that's twice its size. Blue whales top out at like 30 miles an hour. So a whale shark is just not physically capable of doing that. So I always thought that, you know, the shark must have been a little bit slow when it gets to bigger sizes. And even recently, the Discovery Channel said they figured they maxed out at 15 miles an hour. I personally think they're slower, but the thing for me, the key was the teeth. And the teeth of Megalodon, especially the upper anteriors, are very unique when it comes to sharks. Different from its ancestors, even its closest relatives and such. And they have these teeth that are, if you look at a great whites are like these triangular blades with these coarse serrations. They're designed to tear into flesh, create huge wounds that cause like a sea lion or something to bleed out, etc., and for shearing through flesh. The same teeth in a megalodon are more rounded. They have these robust column-like centers to the crowns, like chisels. And then they have these cusps that form these blade-like flanges that flare out away from those chisels, and the lines of which the serrations are much, much, much finer, even proportionately, than those of a great white or something else. And it became obvious after a while that these teeth were bone chisels. And the more I studied them, the more I realized they weren't just designed to break through bone. They were actually designed like wedges. And if you look at them, you can see it. I mean, I have done studies on it and such. But the teeth are like log splitters, meaning that the shark would come up to the rib cage of a whale, and it would bite down on it and feel around until it could fit its teeth, several of them, between the ribs of the whale. Now, obviously, this requires a whale to be dead already, because the whale's not going to lie on its side and be like, hey, yeah, just a little to the right, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, seriously, you know. So then the shark doesn't want to just try and munch in there because it's going to break its teeth. Just remember, its teeth are in jaws made of cartilage, not bone. Okay? So whale ribs are very thick, very tough. Even in 25, 30-foot specimens, they're just very robust. So if you don't want to lose a bunch of your teeth, you know, whether they're going to be replaced in a day or a week or what, you know, you need those teeth. Okay? Just the law of averages to eat and survive and defend yourself. So these teeth would fit between these ribs like pegs. And the crowns, those column-like portions would press in, and as they did, those flange-like cusps would start to cut into the ribs of the whale on either side. And keep in mind, it's not just one tooth. It's the tooth, the next tooth, the next tooth, so it's like a sandwiching effect. And as the shark then applied full pressure, and they have very powerful jaws, those cuffs would be like hacksaws and would start to slice through the ribs on both sides, and then pow, the ribs would just crack, come apart, and the animal was there to tear out a huge chunk of bone, obviously, but also the organs that would be behind that rib cage, the heart, the lungs, huge quantities of nutritious protein. Now that, of course, comes in handy if you're a scavenger and you're swimming along and you find a whale carcass, which you track with that phenomenal sense of smell that we all know sharks have. And when you get to that carcass, though, a lot of it's been already stripped by other sharks, maybe the smaller Megalodon that killed it, for example, and there's not much left. But that rib cage is something that they can't get through. So that's where you, the big mama, the big daddy shark with those bone wedge teeth, like log splitters, you can come up and there's still a treasure trove of flesh behind that rib cage, and your jaws are designed to just crack, pop, and get right in there. And that's just how it is. So the implication is that the sharks, these fans, they get upset. Oh, he's claiming that it's an obligate scavenger. And the word obligate is like playing with words here. That means it's obligated, like it has to do that, okay? And those words never came out of my mouth. What I said was that the smaller, younger sharks, the 10, 20, maybe 25 footers that were still fairly nimble and could match speeds of today's great white, were active hunters. So they were what would you call primary predators, but opportunistic scavengers. Whereas the huge adult megalodons, which were too slow and cumbersome to really be able to do that at that point, they were what you would call primary scavengers and opportunistic hunters. So it wouldn't be like if a 50-foot megalodon was swimming along, and I've used this before, where there was a slow-swimming turtle, or there was a pregnant whale that was having difficulty giving birth and couldn't escape, or there was a wounded whale or something, or dying. Obviously, the shark is going to make a kill. But by and large, at that size and with those specialized teeth, its bread and butter was swimming along, tracking down whale carcasses, which there would have been many of, and just confiscating that carcass from smaller predators and scavengers and feeding. And that's what the morphology of the jaws, the actual tooth design, overwhelmingly, in my opinion, suggests. Of course, people don't like that. It's like saying, like, your predator, like the T-Rex scandal, quote, many years ago, when a paleontologist had announced that T-Rex was a scavenger, and then, of course, everybody got very upset. Something similar, but this is different. This is more like an animal, a species that becomes more and more specialized the bigger it gets, and it sort of converts. See? And, I mean, we have parallels in that in the great white. When the great white is smaller, 6, 8, 10 feet long, it primarily feeds on fish. It's built more like a mako. It's a fast-swimming predator that can chase down fish and prey on them. But when it gets larger, it switches to marine mammals like seals and sea lions and even elephant seals at very large sizes, but it becomes more of a mugger. It can't do these turns and stuff. It swims along deep down and comes up to try and ambush prey. But its prey is small. I mean, it's slower. You know, an elephant seal cannot compete with a 5-foot tuna in terms of speed and maneuverability, etc. So again, it's the great white document before you get too long. You can have a very difficult time making kills, chasing down passengers.
Take command of the road in the 2011 Acura MDX. The 2011 MDX features an all-aluminum V6 engine that is both powerful and fuel efficient.
Confidence and poise are expressed throughout the exterior. A confident footprint is created via the 18-inch alloy wheels. The 7-passenger MDX has doors that open wide for easy entry and exit. The power tailgate opens with the touch of a button.
Acura sought the perfect combination of luxury, comfort, and safety in designing the interior. It includes leather upholstery, power front seats, XM radio, optional rear entertainment system, and seat memory. With split folding second and third row seats, the MDX offers a wide variety of passenger and cargo combinations. The available Acura navigation system features a new display and voice recognition system with continuously updated traffic and weather information.
Acura also prioritized safety and security by including head curtain airbags, anti-whiplash front head restraints, and 4-wheel disc brakes with ABS. The super handling all-wheel drive technology enhances cornering and maneuverability. The rear view camera activates when you engage reverse gear to assist when parking.
The 2011 Acura MDX. Well equipped and fully capable, this could be the right fit.
prices. I'm just making you really have to do it. Mm-hmm.